way before this injury occurred, or the referees missing a bunch of calls. Well, this whole set footage kind of go hand in hand.
So Caitlin Clark's injury is something that is going to massively affect the WNBA.
All of it can change. If this injury does anything, it should be a wake-up call to the WNBA.
What if I told you Caitlin Clark's devastating injury wasn't just bad luck? Footage you haven't seen yet reveals a shocking chain of events involving uncalled fouls and questionable officiating. Is the WNBA's lack of protection for its brightest star costing them more than just games? Stick around. This changes everything.
2 weeks with a quad injury. That is leaving a lot of fans to research online to find footage and plays that possibly.
Just like that, all this fanfare, all this interest, all this newfound attention on the league can disappear overnight.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video.
Now they're not going to see Caitlin Clark, and if the WNBA does what Major League Soccer did, it will be an embarrassment.
Watch some of these plays on Caitlin Clark. Look at this. Look at this.
Imagine this. Caitlin Clark, one of the biggest names in basketball right now, is having one of her career-defining games. The crowd is electric, she's pulling off shots no one else in the league would even attempt, and fans are glued to their screens. But if you rewind just a few plays, there's something disturbing lurking beneath the surface. Defenders are hammering into her as she drives to the hoop. What should be automatic foul calls? Nothing. No whistles, no protection, and certainly no accountability for the physicality she's forced to endure game after game. It's left fans asking, is Clark being punished for being too good?
If this was the NBA and LeBron James or Steph Curry went down, you know what they're doing to these nationally televised games? They're flexing another team in there. WNBA doesn't have that ability.
That is kind of a relevant thing for people watching, and I actually think the Mystics are an interesting team, that it's going to have really good viewership in comparison to the rest of the WNBA.
Caitlin's meteoric rise in the WNBA has been impossible to ignore. She's breaking records, drawing sellout crowds, and skyrocketing TV ratings. By all accounts, she's become the face of not just her team, but the league itself. Yet as her influence grows, so does the intensity of the opposition she faces. Defenders aren't just looking to stop her, they're looking to overwhelm her physically. In a recent game against a rival team, video footage shows Clark driving to the basket only to take a full-body hit mid-air. She lands hard, wincing in obvious pain, but there's no call. Fans jumped all over the replays from that game, and it wasn't just one moment. There were multiple instances of blatant contact being ignored by the referees.
Grabbing, physically grabbing her, applying pressure, pushing her. Look at Brittany Griner.
Number amount attached to Caitlin Clark. So if you see this number amount and you think that her being out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Clark is hurt. She's going to miss games for the first time in her WNBA career. She's got a quad strain. Left quad strain. Uh-oh.
Here's what makes it even worse. The inconsistency in officiating borders on absurdity. Similar contact on other players is routinely called as a foul, raising questions about why Clark is seemingly singled out. League insiders have suggested that certain committees promote a let-them-play mentality, especially for high-profile matchups, believing it encourages a rougher and supposedly more exciting brand of basketball. But what's exciting about losing the very star players fans come to see? It all came to a head with her recent injury. The missed calls and unchecked aggression finally caught up to her, sidelining one of the league's hottest talents. And now, with one referee already being fired, the question remains, is this the beginning of real change, or just a scapegoat? So the WNBA actually fired a referee. That's a big headline on its own, but here's the thing. Fans aren't exactly celebrating. Sure, it finally feels like some level of accountability is happening after weeks of outrage, but one person losing their ref's whistle doesn't mean the deeper issues are solved. For months, hardcore fans and analysts have been pointing fingers at the poor officiating in several games, begging the league to step in before something like Caitlin Clark's injury happened. And now that it has, this move feels less like change and more like damage control.
Now, granted, Caitlin Clark has been in the weight room this season, but I'm telling you right now, there is only so much your body can take, man.
Isn't going to be a massive financial hit. Isn't going to be a massive gut shot to the WNBA.
The referee in question? They were at the center of some blatant non-calls during Clark's recent games. One example that's been shared repeatedly involved Clark taking a hard elbow to the ribs mid-play, clear as day on the replay, but the whistle stayed silent. And it wasn't just a one-off. Throughout multiple matchups, it became obvious there was a pattern of letting defenders rough her up without consequence. Fans were losing it on social media, circulating clips of missed calls, and you could almost hear the frustration through their screens. People started asking how the league could watch its superstar get hammered like this and do nothing.
When you allow this kind of behavior in your league, someone is bound to get hurt. Eventually, the WNBA needs to protect its players.
Caitlin Clark fans will carry over and watch something else that's not Caitlin Clark. That's the WNBA Finals. This is a 2-week stretch, 3-week stretch.
Now, here's where it gets tricky. Officiating in the WNBA isn't just about individual refs. It's tied to a committee system. These committees reportedly set the tone for how games are called, and there's chatter about them pushing for physical basketball to raise competition intensity. The problem is, that approach leaves players like Clark in harm's way when refs don't back up the rules. It creates inconsistency, too. Some teams get away with more, and players like Clark draw less protection when the stakes are high. Will firing one referee really change decades of broken systems? Or is it just a move to quiet backlash? Rehiring better refs is a start, but unless the league overhauls how these games are called, it risks losing more than just Caitlin Clark. It risks losing the fans she brought with her.
Caitlin Clark deserves better. Now, the hits have finally caught up with Caitlin Clark, and I believe that could be the case, man.
Her impact on the WNBA's economy could reach $875 million with modest growth and continued fan interest.
It's going to massively affect the league. And I just saw a clip on Twitter and I'm like, I never thought about it like this.
Caitlin Clark's injury has put the WNBA at a crossroads. Fans are furious, demanding the league protect its players and clean up its officiating. But so far, one referee's firing feels like a band-aid on a much bigger wound. The league needs to act fast. Clark brought in record-breaking viewership and undeniable momentum, but moments like this risk reversing that progress. If the league doesn't prioritize fairness and player safety, the very stars driving its growth could step back, or worse, step away. What do you think the WNBA should do to fix this? Let us know in the comments below.